Wake up, motherfucker.
Alright. Alrighty. Okay, let's go. What's up? It is February 25th, 2026. Alright. Let's get this something going here. Okay, I played this. Oh, oh no. No. Oh well. Yeah. They know where your order limits are. They won't tag it. Good luck with that type of stuff. So, we had Nvidia earnings. Well, what happened there? Looks like nothing happened, huh? So it looked like it tried to go up higher, but it just went back down. Okay. So that's not a good thing. That's not a good look. Because they were pretty much trying to pump everything today, during the day. Not sure exactly if it was just because, State of the Union address or something. But I did see some other stocks getting pumped, maybe the usual suspects, I suppose. I saw the semiconductors get pumped. So you can see it today, it's like, somebody's been trying to pump it. Somebody was trying to pump it. They already were trying to pump it yesterday, though. You could tell it's like this. And then all of a sudden we just move here. And so this is after hours, right? So there's futures. And Nvidia, it's like, okay. Push it up a bit, 0.3%. And then it just gave it all the way back. So after the conference call, I suppose. So what's going to happen tomorrow? What the heck's going to happen tomorrow? So this is the semiconductors. You see that? So definitely tried to pump it yesterday a bit, and they tried to pump it again today. Now, SOXX. So if this ETF gets down to 350-ish, right down here. So let's say tomorrow they give it all back. That's not a good look going. Okay, definitely not a good look. I don't know what's going to happen Friday. I'm just going to assume bad things will happen over the weekend. And then by Monday, maybe it'll just be blood all over. Because there's been a lot of effort put into keeping it here. Right? A ton of effort. Let's look at the daily. So let me take off the drawing. So just look at the chart. Just look at the chart. Purely just look at the chart, okay? And then just look at the volume bars, all right? So you see this bar here, a lot of volume came in, okay? So a lot of people are just trying to escape, and then people are starting to buy, I assume, because afterwards, we held this 320-ish area, and then we pushed back, and still a lot of volume over here. So the last red bar here did not result in a return down to 320, right? We've pushed higher. So you get all this volume, all this effort, and what do we get? Let's see, what do we get? What was the end result? So from here to here, how much result here? So we went up basically 1.6%. All that work for 1.6%. So if you bought here at the top, we just barely made it back to the top and a little bit higher. Okay, so let me take away the drawing again. So what was similar to that movement? Look at this one. So back in October, we made a nice new high, right? We moved from July, the July highs here. And then once we broke out of this range, we moved up. Pretty good. The last red bar here, you see a lot of volume came in. But again, we still had the moving averages go up here, did not break. We tested it a little bit, we got higher, and then we went down, okay, and we went back up. Now over here, there wasn't as much volume going down and back up, right? Compared to this, look at that. It's a lot more volume to keep this thing over here. There was a lot less volume to keep it over here. And what was the result? So let's say roughly about, let's say over here, 1.74%. So you did all this work to push it up here, so back up there, and that was your result. So a lot less to push it up 1.7%. Hell of a lot more to push it 6%. So going V shape down here, V shape over here, and then we fell back. Okay, we had some volume come back here, trying to get this thing to stay above the halfway point of this. So if you just decide to look at this like, okay, this one huge move here, and we've maintained half of it before we bounce back, that's pretty good. So that was a solid recovery to push it up further, right up here. Okay, so we resulted in 25%. So that's why semiconductors was a very good ETF. If I knew it was going to behave like this, I would have told everyone to load it up back in late April into May. You know, I didn't know it was going to be the best ETF, even better than gold miners and all that. So if you do leverage, so if you do SOXL, right, and you bought it at 13, or if you bought some at 8, or you went at the very bottom at $7, and you started selling up here at 45, and then maybe you bought back, or you held some and sold that's what I did. I basically sold some here in October, then I bought some back, and then I sold again at like maybe a little bit here and a little bit here. Okay, a little bit here, a little bit here, pretty much at 65. And I don't have any more SOXL. Okay, pretty much I'm out. This looks a lot more dangerous than any of these, because let's say it behaves like this. Let's say it drops back to 60, right? Or something like that. Do you think it can go up another 25%? I mean, seriously. Like, this is crazy. We haven't seen this type of move on semiconductors since. So here I'm going to do a ratio of the leverage versus the non-leverage. Okay, the last time we had this type of move was during COVID. Okay, everybody who bought the dip in March, you know, you were well rewarded if you leveraged up. And the actual peak was in November, before all the tariffs, not tariffs, what was it? The interest rates started getting hiked, and the war in Ukraine and all that really killed everything here. And we recovered a bit into July, right? And this was the yen carry trade. So the Japanese did their goofy stuff, and it crashed it. And then we start underperforming the S&P. So you saw this, and we went lower in April. So this is the reason I bought SOXL there, but I didn't know it would behave so well that it would just shoot up all the way into New Year's. And even after New Year's, you see we went up some more, right? That's wild, because even though Nvidia was no longer carrying it, you see it rotate into AMD, you see it rotate in Intel, and then Micron, SanDisk, and then you see the Lumentum, the opticals, all this stuff. So this is insane. You think it's gonna keep going? I have my doubts. So after Nvidia right now, I don't think that was enough. Now there's only gonna be a few more earnings after Nvidia for semiconductors. It's gonna be Broadcom, it's gonna be Marvell, it's gonna be Micron, and that's it. Those are the three main big players left to report earnings, and they report late in March. So halfway in March, the Ides of March into late March. So really close to tax season, what Micron will report. And then you have Oracle. So I think Oracle is the one everyone looks at, kind of like, because Oracle was the one that screwed everything up here. So this drop here in December was Oracle. So Oracle caused all this. Oracle is not a semiconductor company. It was just that, like, its earnings, they reported that they weren't going to have as many customers or something as they thought they used to have. And then there was some credit issues, like people didn't believe they could pay off their bonds because they were overspending. So they had bought the credit default swaps, the CDSs. So that's what caused this little panic here. Something is going to cause another panic like this. And to me, I don't think it's just going to bounce. You know, I think when this panic happens, it's going to come down here to 52. Okay, that's a SOX L. So if I look at the normal ETF, SOXX, not leverage, I think this will mean this will like at least break 324. Okay, it will get down to 324, and then it will start teasing 310 maybe if it's significant enough. And this is going to be worse than this move. Okay, this is not going to hold 340. I don't think so. Whatever this news that's gonna come around the corner is gonna be enough. So if Nvidia can't push this guy up anymore, it's way easy for bearish news to come in and make people go down, because we're done. We're done. We don't have many earnings left. Anybody can report a rumor somewhere in the news and they'll force it down. All right. I don't know who the heck is buying up here. Like, if you really think it's just gonna go up directly from this point on and not retest and go down a bit, at least to retest, then the people here have weak hands. Oh, this may really cause a nasty crash. Okay, now let's look at Bitcoin. All right, so let me look at your chat, see if it's. So I don't know, YouTube chat doesn't work and all that. What's up, Elrose, King Rooster? What's up? Is there a metric that quantifies effort, volume? You know, you have to read the book. You have to read that book. Trades about to happen, but if you read that book, it's very dense, very dry, very boring. You can read his book and learn his way of doing it, which quantifies the volume, the effort, and result. So he covers it all in that book, if you really care. I don't do it that way because the Wyckoff guys don't do it that way. The Wyckoff guys, Roman Bogazanov, whatever his name is, who's in charge of the Wyckoff Analytics Group, his mentor was David Weiss. David Weiss taught him that stuff, but he doesn't use those terms in his courses, you know? So if you look at the videos in the Wyckoff Analytics course, you can tell what he's doing, because he doesn't want people to focus on trying to have the exact, like, oh, this is the number. Because when you do the David Weiss way, he gives you a ratio. He actually gives you a ratio, and that it determines all that, and it quantifies it for you. Roman just wants you to look at the overall picture. Like, he just wants you to focus on looking at the charts itself. Okay, the other way is, like I told you about, the auction market theory, which requires you to have good volume data. That's the other way of doing things, okay, which is more accurate than looking at these charts like this. I want people just to study charts this way, because it's quicker, right? It's just more qualitative. I don't think you need to be that precise to get like the same results. You can try to see if actually going through the math and deriving things gives you better, but I think for most people, they're not going to spend the effort doing that. So I'm going to give you the book again. So if you really do want to read it, yeah, it's David Weiss, Trades About to Happen. Okay, so I'll give you the Amazon link, and you can figure out how to get it for free. I know you guys know how to get books for free. Some of you guys, okay? So there you go. Trades About to Happen. Adaptation of the Wyckoff method. for modern days. I think that's what it is. Subtitle. Okay. Make sure it goes to all the chats here. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. David Weiss. David H. Weiss. He died some years ago. Yeah, he was an old dude. So David H. Weiss, okay? So you can look him up. There's old YouTube videos of him about it too. So you can actually, if you don't want to read the book, you can go on YouTube, type his name in, David H. Weiss, W-E-I-S-S, and you could find old videos of him talking about it, how to do it more precisely. Okay, there you go. Okay, so look at Bitcoin. So it defended it pretty well at the bottom of that pink area. So what do we expect now? We're right back here at the downturning 18-day moving average. So like I said, this is kind of like the hand that keeps you in the pool, right? So like, let's say you are coming up from under the water and you're trying to get up and take a breath of air, and I just put my hand over your head and just push you back down. That's what this moving average has basically been trying to do for several bars, right? Starting from February 21st, Saturday, and then Sunday, and then from there, Monday, when the markets reopened. So yeah, the weekend usually very low volume, you can see, right? And Bitcoin pretty much gets most of its volume during the normal operating hours of the stock market because of all the ETFs that Bitcoin has. So that's why Bitcoin pretty much is tied to the markets, especially the NASDAQ. And we did a pretty good job of recovering, so that's not bad. So does that mean we're done here? Does that mean we are ready to move up and break out? Because there was quite a lot of volume here. We see some result. We see better result than here last week, right? We went through the yellow area. Good. Looks like we will retest the top of this yellow area. If it does and bounces and goes back to the top of the pink, that's good signal. Now, does it stay like that into the weekend? I don't know. Now, it could be that Thursday into Friday, it doesn't hold this yellow. If you see this thing tomorrow morning, all right, in pre-market into the opening of the NYSE, New York Stock Exchange, at around 8:30 to 9:30, so pre-market 1 hour before and into 9:30 when the market opens Eastern time, okay, 9:30 a.m., and it just goes, slices right through that yellow area. You know what I'm doing? I'm shorting. That's it. That means you put all this work and you are giving it all up because this bar here is important. All right, so let me put it in the 4 hour. So usually for Bitcoin, I just do 4 hour and 40 minutes. All right, this is the one I'm looking for. So I'm seeing improvement. I'm seeing the MACD go up here. I see the ADX. I see the green going up here. The blue ADX is good. So the bulls have it. The bulls have this. They should have this. Should be easy for them. I'm going down to the 40 minute here now. You see what it did here? You had this slice through on Monday, right? You go to the bottom of the yellow area, you pull back, and then look at that. You flatten out. You get low volatility now. Lower volatility. So now you start seeing the green and the red of the ADX, you know, contract here. So that's why I have these things. I mean, you don't need these, right? You can just look at the chart itself and just go like, look at it. The volatility is shrinking. I don't need those other things. Those other indicators just confirm what I look at just looking at the chart by itself. I just look at this, I see this. It's contracting. See, it's not like this. This is higher volatility because the bars are larger. Here, it's tiny. And then when the volume comes back in, when the market opened on Tuesday, poof, it just pushed this green up. When it does that, let's say I'm trading overnight. Okay, let's say I'm gonna trade overnight. So basically, this is a 24-hour market in crypto, right? I can use futures too, whatever. So this is during the day. I see this, I get in here, and then I hold because I'll just set my stop loss over here. So if it goes back down to 62,000, let's say, I didn't trade that, but I'm just saying, if you want to trade, this is what you're doing. You look at this chart on the 40-minute, and you see it start moving up here, right? This is the 18 moving average going over, crossing over that 40. So you keep holding. You see this? Now let's say I'm more conservative. Let's say I didn't buy here. I wait for this to cross over first. This is what Joe Rabel does. He waits for this thing to cross over first. I see the MACD pinch here. I see this thing move up, and then it pulls back. When it pulls back and I see this 18 and 40 start going parallel and start like spreading away like this, you see that? It has a good distance. Now I want to get my attack in and say, like, I'm going to buy somewhere here probably. Okay, I'm going to wait until I buy somewhere here. And then when the market opened, like right here, poof, I go up. So yeah, you could do it that way too. But here you could tell because the volatility is decreasing. You see it's making a range, okay? And so you could decide that this is somebody holding it at this area, waiting for the signal to push it up, and that's what happened. Now, if we look at the 4 hour, all right, you look at this thing here. You see this? So like I said, this is just like the daily, okay? But now we're just looking at the 4 hour chart. And this purple line to pinkish line, fuchsia, I guess, colored, is trying to push it down, right? Right? It's pushing. So I know that if it can't get above 65,000, around there, I'm in trouble. So I know that the 4 hours says 65,000 is where I want to be. Okay, I want to hold it and start moving away from it. That's the problem here. So then when I go down to the lower time frame, to 40-minute, then I go like, okay, I know that I'll draw a line and say like 65,000 is where I need to stay above. Okay, so when this thing did this first initial, this was like an hour before the State of the Union. So I don't know why this thing started pumping. Was there news? I don't know. But this was an hour before it. Somebody was trying to test this, and then it pulled back. And so it's holding 65. I get in there. Okay, that's another thing you have to look at, is you look at multiple time frames. So Eric W asked me like, okay, you got to look at all these time frames, and this is what you have to do. So if you go to Joe Rabel's videos, you can find all that stuff. So let me put it on the link again for people. So let me see. All right, so you can go Joe Rabel. Okay, I think I spelled his name correctly. So you can go to his YouTube. Okay, you can go there. So search Joe Rabel. You can find this channel over there. Here's his @ Okay, here's his @ so you can search that. Okay, JoeRabilRSR. Okay, and watch all his videos if you want, and he'll go over this over and over and over again. This is how he does it. He just looks at 2 moving averages on all the time frames, okay, and then he just goes like, okay, see, let's look at the monthly. So let me take away the drawing. So look at the monthly. The monthly says that 64,000 is a good place for it to try to hold and defend. Okay, that's the 40 moving average on the monthly. Then I go down to the weekly. What does the weekly say? The weekly says that I'm far away from 86,000. This is where this purple line is coming down. So maybe by the time this thing moves up, it goes to 80. Even though this is clearly go in a downtrend, right? This is clearly going down, but things don't go down in a straight line. So if I want to short again, I'm probably not going to want to short here because the monthly says that it's going to stop here. And also, coincidentally, right? Draw that. See, this area here used to be the top in March 2024. All right. So that's why it's important to watch this, because this was the move between October 23rd to March 2024 before it went sideways for many months. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. Pretty much 8 months. 8 months it went nowhere. So we know that this was a significant place where people were fighting each other. They were trying to decide, hey, is this going to keep going up or not in this price? So there had to be agreement here. But then once there was disagreement, right, in the price, they decided, yes, all right, we're ready to move on. Now, this is the same thing when we went up here in July. So we go back up, but pretty much went sideways. June to July, August, September, October was the last try to get to 130,000, right? And then we fell back. So that means the sellers are taking over in this side here. So we're starting to move down. So the price no longer says that we keep going up, because people have decided after all this equilibrium, this is equilibrium, right? Low volatility. When there's contraction, then there's expansion. When there's contraction, then there's expansion. So this might look boring for a lot of months, but this is actually people agreeing with each other because the buying and selling match and line up so that they keep the price staying in this range until something happens where, nope, I'm not going to buy it at this price anymore. And then all of a sudden it just goes down, right? Or here, oh, I'm going to buy it at a higher price because I think it's going to go higher. So then they buy, and they keep price up. So the price goes up higher. So now we're here, right back to this area. So these are significant points at 64 for sure. If it drops below 64 and goes to 50, then you have to watch if it gets defended. If people really don't want it to go below 64, 65,000, you'll see volume come in and someone will buy. But for the meantime, they'll panic. So whoever bought it at 100-something thousand and kept holding for all these months, they'll sell. If they haven't sold already, they'll sell. They'll panic out. All the people that bought here at 70 probably will panic out. They'll be like, holy shit, 70, now it's 50. But you, patient person, you are the patient person. You're not buying any of this, right? Because this is just trading. People are just trading up and down. See, so it's just like here, if you were trading like over the 36 hours between this point and this point, you're probably out. You see this one? This candle with all this volume? This was when Nvidia released its earnings. So there was like, once it pushed up to this level at 69,000, it started like decreasing in volatility, right? There's no more trend. There's nothing. It's going flat. They agree that, okay, for now, I like 69,000, but all of a sudden they don't like 69,000. Are they going to like 68,000? Are they going to like 66,000? Are they going to like 64,000? If tomorrow, when the market opens, Nvidia pukes, the NASDAQ pukes, and Bitcoin pukes, whoo, we're just going to slide right through, because there was a lot of volume pushing this guy up. If nobody wants to keep it up here at 68,000, 69,000, you're not going to see 70, 75, 80,000 right now. You're going to have to go back lower and find new sets of buyers. You're going to have to find new people to buy it at a lower price. All right, because you're going to scare everyone else out of here. So that's what you're watching tomorrow. That's what we're watching tomorrow. So we'll have to see. So yeah, if Nvidia doesn't hold, then that'll probably be where I would short into Friday. If you're crazy and want to keep shorting into the weekend, go be my guest. If you think there's going to be war, you might want to do it, because but you're going to have to trade over the weekend for sure. You're going to have to watch it carefully, because if there's bad news might quickly become a place where people buy, because once people get the bad news, they'll buy it. So it's like sell the news, right? Sell the news is when a stock goes up or something goes up, and then you get the news you wanted to hear, but there's no new buyers coming in because nobody wants to buy it after the news. It's like, okay, you tell me the news that I thought was going to happen, so where's the new buyers at? Who's going to push it up to the next level? They're not going to do it. Then they'll sell the news. The same thing when you have bad news, okay? And the most amazing example of buying the news was China. So if you look at Chinese stocks, this was so clear here. Yeah, I think it was in 2022. So this was during the Chinese meeting, the CCP meeting with Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping basically said, I am the king now, right? He basically kicked out the old president, the former president, chairman, out of the meeting. And people started flipping out, going like, oh my God, he's taking over China. It's one guy taking over China. It's going to be Mao Zedong. What happened after that? After that bad news, they bought the news. They got the bad news they were expecting. Yeah, everybody knew Xi Jinping was going to do that. Everybody knew he was going to do something like that. They got the news. People got scared that week. Okay, going into that meeting. So Monday, right into the Monday, and this is like bleeding. And then the next week, it was just like, I think it was the next damn day. I don't know, right? Let me see. Let me see the weekly chart. How did the weekly chart look? Okay, so this was Monday, October 24, and this was Monday the 31st. Yeah, I think this was the weekend into that Monday. So it was bleeding going into the meeting, and then once he did that, it just ran up. It just ran up. Like how it went multiple weeks, it went up. It's like 51% recovery. Damn, so that's what I expect. I expect something like this. So let's say this is Bitcoin, right? This was like the first drop to 60,000. We're here right now. We're here, and we went up and tried to recover to this point, right? Around 70,000. And then somehow over the weekend, we'll just get bad news, and it just starts dropping like crazy like this, and it just goes through. So that means Thursday, Friday, Saturday or something. It's just like this. It's just like, so when the bad news hits, sometime Saturday to Sunday, you'll see this capitulation. They'll call it capitulation. Everybody's freaking out. They think the world is ending. That's when you buy. And then it'll just recover. Is it recovering because the news is good now? No, it doesn't mean. We will be bombing Iran left and right, but the price will still go up because all the people that were buying because of the news already were doing it here. And so that once all those guys are gone, people are just going to buy it, because then what other bad news will you have? Are you going to nuke Iran? That's the only other thing. So if you're going to do conventional weapons and you're going to bomb them, the next thing would be like, oh, we're going to put boots on the ground, or we're going to nuke them or something. That's the only thing that people probably are not expecting Trump to do. So that would be the only reason this won't act like this, I assume. So, but I assume it'll be like this. So going into Monday, maybe it'll just be bloody, maybe even into Tuesday. Who knows? But it might end on Sunday, depending on how expansive the attack will be, right? So that's the only thing. I'm just spitballing here. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't have a crystal ball, but I'm just telling you this is how you think about it. You kind of plan out, if this XYZ happens, this is what the stock or thing will do, and then this is what I'm gonna do to trade it. That's it. That's all I'm doing. I don't have a crystal ball. All I'm doing is I'm just telling you that these patterns show up all the time. I mean, this looks very similar, right, to what Bitcoin is doing. like right now. You could just think of it like as Bitcoin almost. So that's why it's fractal. That's why you look at charts. If you see enough of these charts from time to time, you'll just recognize it right away. You go like, oh, okay, I know what Bitcoin's gonna do, right? I drew this pink area for a reason, right? This thing didn't even complete its drawing yet. I just quickly assessed the situation and said like, okay, you got these large candles. I see this thing making the top here. So this is the top of my pink area. The bottom is somewhere around here. I don't know. I just approximated the bottom around here, and you can see how well it hit that bottom. How did it do that? Did I have a crystal ball? No. I just seen this so many times over and over again. This thing could say gold on it, and I would just draw it the same way. I don't care what stock, what thing is it? You know, what is the thing? It could be anything, but the patterns are always the same because human behavior is always the same. People get freaked out, they get scared, they sell. And then when you have this sudden movement of buyers coming in to stop it, then you say, all right, then this will create a range now. Now we're going to go sideways for a bit before we continue either going down or reverse and go up. This thing could just go up. I don't know. But we do know what days things might happen, right? A weekend is coming up. We know NVIDIA will report earnings, and there's nothing left. So for earnings for the rest of the week, that might affect it. Maybe CoreWeave might do something, but I don't know. I don't think it will. But just in case, CoreWeave will report earnings after the close on Thursday, so that might affect something on Friday. All right. So I think you get what I mean. That's all it is. So then let's go back to the oil stuff. And dude, CoreWeave's chart is ugly, dude. I don't know what it's doing here. Because it's a new stock too. That's the problem. It doesn't have much history. So you see, it just what was this, IPO or what? I don't know. But like it just rode the whole AI hype right up here, right from April up into here. And then now it's just like nobody knows what price it should be at. It's just like, what? It's not worth 178? Is it worth at least 64? It depends on how many customers they got from Amazon and all those other guys and Open AI, right? That's it. Okay. Let's look at Palantir. Palantir still goofing around here. It's trying to defend the most important line ever at 120, 125. Okay, if it breaks 125, bye-bye. We go down, and that's scary. That's really scary. That means a lot of other stocks will drop like this. You won't see this stock try to recover up here. That's gonna be really scary shit. Really scary shit. And I don't think I have time to read some of these articles. All right, that I wanted to tonight. I just wanted it to be pretty quick update. I'll come back tomorrow and I'll read you some of those. It's not really articles. It was just like some of the astrology stuff. So yeah, I'll definitely talk about them later. Let me do SGML first, and then I'll preview some of the articles. SGML went up 29%. This is my favorite lithium stock, man. So this thing has defended that $10. It's very volatile. This is scary. It's a scary stock. But it's treated me well before. It treated me well before. Like in 2021, during COVID, going into the Ukraine war, this was a very nice stock, going from $5 to like nearly 40. Very nice. I really like this guy. Would I buy more of this here? It does look tempting, right? It does look tempting. It wasn't earnings. It was just like they went to a conference to present their the future growth to some bankers. So apparently it must have been good because somebody was buying with a lot of volume. So it's not even, it didn't even have earnings yet, and it's already doing this shit. Oh, goddamn. So this is great. This is great. SGML, definitely. I like this. Yeah, and I'll talk about some other stocks that I saw some earnings tomorrow. Another one is Air Testing. I have no idea why it's acting like it is right now, because earnings was right at New Year's. So Air reports earnings right at the beginning of earnings season. So from here, I see it's defended the 25 line, okay, after earnings. Good. And then it's flying to 43. So this is an important area. It had issues trying to get above 50. It looks beautiful right now. So this is a whole range. So if you took this as a whole range from 2021, and once it breaks 45 again, if this thing can push through, woo! I don't know how high this thing will go, but it's a risky stock for sure. It's a risky stock for sure, but I think it has great potential. So I'll tell you, like SGML, Air, those type of stocks, highly risky, high beta. You might freak out because each day it could go up and down 20%, and you'll be like, what? So I would say don't put a lot of money in them if you get scared really quickly. But right now, both of them look very good for 2026. So these two probably are the ones that I think can go up 10x, right? You buy it here, it's going to go up 10x by the end of the year. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's looking like that kind of stock. Okay, so those two are the ones. I'll talk about other ones tomorrow. And so AE, HR, and SGML. Those are the two. SGML. Okay. All right. Alrighty, guys. So those are the two stocks, and I'll be done with that, and I'll wrap it up. Let me preview the stuff I want to talk about, but I won't get to it today. Basically, I'm gonna talk about cycles. Okay, we're gonna talk about the menstruation cycle. All right, and we're gonna talk about this lunar 18-year cycle. So all you flat Earth people, don't show up tomorrow. You're not going to like what I present. Okay, flat Earth people, go away. So I'm going to talk about the moon and the precession and all this. So we're going to discuss these types of cycles, right? The tidal cycles. We have the monthly cycle. You got the yearly solar cycle. You got the metonic. I'm not going to cover all this, but like, yeah, we're going to cover some, like this lunar nodal cycle, definitely, for sure. Which is really interesting because it changes the sea levels, okay? And that kind of connects into the real estate 18.5 year cycle too. I think there's a relationship between that and real estate, something there. And again, all that stuff going into war. So people are gonna fight each other because all the water is gonna rise and there's not enough land or something like that. All right, so that'll be tomorrow. That's what we're going to cover tomorrow. And so, because I talked about, we are entering the puts crash window where a crash may occur between February 17th, March 3rd. All right, guys. Okay, so I'll see you around tomorrow. Good luck.